Built by Robert Tatton during the 16th century, Withy Shaw Hall has witnessed a fascinating history. The hall was seized by Oliver Cromwell's forces during the 1640s, but the building was eventually handed back to Robert Tatton, and for 400 years Withy Shaw Hall remained in the Tatton family. During Cromwell's invasion of the hall, servant Mary Webb, along with her fiancé, both died in the struggle to save Withy Shaw Hall. Ever since Mary's death, the sounds of sobbing is heard throughout the building, along with the regular sightings of Mary's spirit wandering through the dark corridors within Withy Shaw Hall. A mother and daughter were once visiting the hall when they both noticed a lady walking down the corridors, weeping. Concerned for the weeping lady, both mother and daughter followed her, as the lady turned and entered one of the bedrooms. Upon entering the bedroom, the mother and her daughter were shocked and confused to see that the weeping lady was nowhere to be seen. Visitors to Withy Shaw Hall often report the sounds of heavy footsteps within the empty rooms, along with being touched, pinched, and even pushed by unseen hands. Many people believe that this is the work of one of Cromwell's men, intent on continuing causing problems here, just as they did in life some 400 years earlier.
Now there's lots of ghost stories connected to Whalley Abbey, including the sighting of a hooded monk, along with a phantom horse charging through the ruins.
Within the remaining ruins, the ghostly apparition of a hooded monk has been seen and heard on several occasions. Unexplainable chanting and footsteps echo within the stone wall ruins, many people believing this to be the spirit of the executed abbot, John Paslow. Supposedly haunted by former resident Lady Ann Ashton, her spirit appearing mostly during the winter time, where her ghostly shadow is spotted in front of the fireplace, just resting her hand on the mantelpiece.
Lund's Court, formerly known as Mad Alice Lane, is one of York's many snickerways believed to be haunted by the ghost of former York resident Alice Smith. In life, Alice was reported to have been beaten and cruelly treated by her husband throughout the marriage. One day, Alice decided she wasn't going to put up with any more mistreatment, and decided to gain revenge on her husband and ensure that once and for all, she would never be hurt again. Alice murdered him. Shortly after murdering her husband, it is believed that Alice went mad and was executed by hanging at York Castle in 1825. The spirit of Alice Smith allegedly haunts this snickerway and has been spotted gliding down the alleyway, where in life she once walked through daily. Also, there has been more sightings of Alice appearing in a window, glancing down at those who pass through Mad Alice Lane.
The majority of old halls seem to have a resident spirit of a grey lady, and Gorphorp Hall is no different. The main staircase is an area where the spirit of the grey lady has been sighted on more than one occasion, just standing on the staircase. Many people believe this to be the ghost of Gorphorp Hall's former resident, a Rachel K. Shuttleworth. It seems that almost every floor at Gorphorp Hall is reported to house an unknown entity. The ghost of a hooded nun has been spotted standing in front of the hall. In life, the nun met her untimely death by the hands of her lover, who is believed to have murdered her. More unexplainable phenomena has occurred in the hall's kitchen, where it is reported that the spirit of a young servant girl was once spotted cowering in a corner.
Now, before even entering the hall, some of its visitors claim to experience some unpleasant and unusual feelings.
Visitors here report an uncontrollable urge to leave the hall whilst browsing along the upper levels. Many people reporting a dark presence following them around the corridors, but then it just vanishes. On the top floors are rooms where servants once stayed. But in here, it is believed that a young female was murdered. Female visitors regularly report sharp pains in their chest, along with an overwhelming feeling of sadness and despair upon entering the servants' quarters.
During World War I, a soldier who was about to be sent to the trenches sent a letter to his lover. In the note, he promised to meet her at the Old Star Inn on the first night of his return home. She sat and waited, but the soldier never arrived. She later died of a broken heart. To this day, the wandering souls of the two lovers are believed to have been witnessed separately roaming around the bar in search of each other.
Now, I've heard quite a lot about properties being renovated, people moving in and out of properties, which seem to stir up paranormal activity. Well, at this next location, which happened in 1999, where somebody was renovating and it seems to stir up the spirits, and since then it seems to have been quite a hotbed of activity.
Notorious for being one of Stonegate's most oldest and haunted buildings is number 35. This medieval building was built in 1482, but records show that for over 1,000 years, a building has stood on this site, overlooking Stonegate. Believed to be the home of the spirit of a tall man, dressed in black and wearing a hat. It's said to reside in the wooden panelled room amongst the wood carvings of demons. The spirit man is locally named Tall Tom. A balding monk has been spotted in one of the rooms upstairs, along with a lady dressed in Georgian clothing, who is believed to be responsible for touching and grabbing hold of people who have visited here.
Now, number 35 Stonegate was apparently so active that the owner hired it out to paranormal ghost hunters, and there was quite a lot of unusual encounters.
Poltergeist activity is a regular occurrence at number 35 Stonegate, with doors slamming, creaking floorboards, along with scratching sounds coming from the attic room. Multiple unexplainable encounters have been witnessed here, and have become more noticeable when in 1999, astrologer Jonathan Kaner began renovating this building. Jonathan said in an interview that he was aware of the ghosts here, but since his renovation work, there had been a huge increase of ghostly activity, explaining that his property was now like Piccadilly Circus.
Oxney Bottom, once being a village inhabited by people for thousands of years. But now, all that remains here are the woodland and crumbling remains, and described by many as the ghost town of Dover. Separated from the public by dense woodlands are the decaying remains of St Nicholas's Chapel. Not great in size, but now a Grade 2 listed building. The remaining church records show that in 1801 the parish had only 11 inhabitants. The ghost town of Oxney seems to be home to some incredible encounters and ghost stories. Rumours and ghostly tales seem to begin in the 1960s, when a boy fell down the well here. But stories surrounding a mysterious woman, dressed in a long grey coat, being seen on the road of the A258, have become increasingly common. Throughout the past few decades, there have been so many sightings of the Grey Lady that there aren't that many people in this district who hasn't seen her. Hobbling along and scaring drivers half to death, the ghostly lady has been blamed for causing numerous accidents along this road for many decades. Riding along this road one day was a coach driver who claims to have been driving the coach when out of nowhere the apparition of a woman appeared right in front of the coach. The driver ended up driving straight through her, and then afterwards realising that nobody was actually there. A lone motorist travelling along this road had to pull over after their electrical sensors indicated that there was somebody else in the car.
Now, I'm sure you've all heard many stories about a Grey Lady, where a lot of places in Britain seems to have the Grey Lady haunting the grounds. But this next story is one of the most fascinating stories I've ever heard, and I'm sure you'll agree when you see this.
In 1967, it was claimed that the ghostly Grey Lady boarded a double-decker bus and made her way upstairs to the top deck. The bus conductors followed her to collect the fare, but when she reached the top deck, it was completely empty. This freaked the conductors out, and the bus hadn't stopped to let anybody off. When darkness falls, unexplainable, eerie, childlike cries have been reported within these woods. Some suggesting that the cries being the spirit of the local boy who fell down the well in the 1960s. Others believing that the sounds are more likely to be dogs at a nearby kennel.